June 30th, 1908, 7:17 a.m. A remote stretch of Siberia. Nothing but endless forest. Then the sky ignites. A fireball brighter than the sun tears across the horizon. Seconds later, it explodes. A shockwave flattens more than 80 million trees. The blast is heard hundreds of kilometers away. And yet, nothing hits the ground. No crater, no wreckage, no confirmed fragments. This was the Tunguska Event. Welcome back to Echoes of the Vanished. At 7:17 a.m. local time, witnesses saw a blazing object streak across the sky. Some described it as blue-white, others said it burned red and gold. It grew brighter, larger, closer. Semyon Semenov, standing 65 kilometers away, later recalled, "The sky split in two. Fire covered the northern sky. I felt intense heat, like my shirt was on fire. Then came a tremendous bang, and I was thrown to the ground." Others reported deafening thunder. Windows shattered hundreds of kilometers away. The pressure wave was recorded on barometers across Eurasia. It circled the Earth twice. For nights afterward, skies across Europe glowed faintly red. Newspapers described strange luminous clouds lingering after sunset. Something enormous had happened. For several seconds after the blast, there was ringing silence. Birds had scattered, reindeer bolted through the forest. The air itself seemed to vibrate. Then came the sound, a deep rolling thunder that did not stop. The ground trembled in waves, and then only wind moving through broken trees. In one of the most remote regions on Earth, an explosion larger than any modern weapon had just occurred, and almost no one was there to see it. When investigators later reached the site, they found devastation on a scale almost impossible to grasp. Over 2,150 square kilometers of forest destroyed. More than 80 million trees flattened. They lay outward in a near-perfect radial pattern, like a giant butterfly stamped into the earth. But at the center, something strange remained. The trees were not flattened. They stood upright, stripped bare, blackened trunks rising from the ground like telegraph poles. The force had come from above, not into the ground. An explosion of this magnitude should have left a crater, a visible scar, a wound in the earth. There was none, no impact basin, no massive iron fragments, no buried meteorite, just swamp. That shouldn't be possible. It took nearly 20 years before a major scientific expedition reached the blast zone. In 1927, Soviet mineralist Leonid Kulik led a team deep into the Siberian wilderness. He expected to find a crater. Instead, he found millions of fallen forest, all pointing away from one central point. At that point was a marsh. Kulik became convinced the meteorite was buried beneath it. He organized multiple expeditions under brutal conditions. Supplies froze, horses struggled in the mud, but he kept returning, mapping, measuring, digging, searching for a crater that refused to exist. He died in 1942, believing it had been a meteorite, but he had never found definitive proof. The Earth never revealed its secret. Today, most scientists support what's known as the airburst model. A stony asteroid, perhaps 50 to 100 meters wide, entered Earth's atmosphere at tremendous speed. As it descended, pressure built catastrophically in front of it. The stress became too great. At an altitude between 5 and 10 kilometers, it exploded. The object never reached the ground intact. Its kinetic energy converted almost instantly into heat and shockwave. That is why there was no crater, an explosion in the sky. But when something detonates with nuclear level force and leaves no crater, imagination fills the gap. Some proposed a comet fragment, mostly ice vaporizing completely. Others suggested a small iron body skimming the atmosphere. And then came the wilder ideas: a miniature black hole, or antimatter annihilation, even extraterrestrial craft, none supported by physical evidence. In 2013, a much smaller object exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia, injuring over 1,000 people. Tunguska was far larger. If it had occurred over London in 1908, the blast radius would have leveled the city centre. If it happened over a modern metropolis today, millions could be at risk within seconds. No warning, no defence, just a flash in the sky. Tunguska was not an extinction-level event, but it was a reminder: Earth is not isolated. In 1908, something entered our sky. It burned, it detonated, and it vanished. Tunguska was a warning shot. Not the largest object to approach Earth, just the one that exploded in silence. History doesn't always leave answers. Sometimes it leaves silence. This is Echoed of the Vanish. If you're drawn to the unexplained, stay with us. The silent still speaks.